time to go in the garage with Bodie Stroud.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to In the Garage. Got a full house today, huh?
Yes, we do.
We got a special guest, Jeff Martin from Munsey Speed and Design. He's going to be talking about carbon fiber because he heard us talking about it on the show.
That's right.
So he's our one and only listener right here in the studio live today. So this will be exciting. Want to thank everybody for joining us. Listen to us every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on crntalk.com. Every week we are brought to you by Steel Rubber Products, steelrubber.com, and MagnaFlow. Check them out at magnaflow.com. So, man, we might as well go right into carbon fiber and talking to Jeff here and see what he's got going, because he's been anxious to get in here and talk about it. You know what's cool is I've seen, now that you brought it up, and the carbon fiber and everything, like we were saying on that one show, we've never had an opportunity to work with it. No one's ever wanted it. None of our customers, they're all kind of diehard metal guys.
Right.
And no one's ever actually allowed us to build something that's kind of racy, I guess, for the track, which is a shame because we have a lot of knowledge and I think we could bring a lot to the game, you know what I mean? But for some reason, people just come to us and they like the artistry in our work, and we make them drivable, and they like all the modern technologies in them and stuff. But metal's been the deal, and I understand that carbon fiber is the way to go if you want to lighten the vehicle up and you are racing and you're trying to get that advantage point.
Right? Yeah, that's a good part right there.
So tell us about it. Tell us about the material and how it's made.
Sure, absolutely. So in order to produce a carbon fiber part, most everything needs to start with a mold. So you need a piece to copy, and that's traditionally either done in metal or, some guys will they're doing rapid prototyping. They'll do 3D printing off of, some of the newer technologies, or CNC milling to get their pieces out. But basically, they've got to make the part out of something else first.
Sure.
So then they can create a mold of it.
Sure.
So then once you got a mold, a little bit of show and tell here. Once you got a mold in place, you got some layers that are things that will stay and then things that will go away. So what we've got here is just an example of the different types of carbon fibers that are traditionally used. We just got like a standard 2K ply here, and then this is what most people see for their cosmetic layers. It's a twill weave, so it's almost got that diagonal bar to it right here. Yeah,
this is our showgirl.
She's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, she is. She's
there
great.
You go.
Smooth, huh?
Traditionally, what you'll do is you'll actually use a little bit of a tack glue to tack this into your mold, because you don't want it moving anywhere. You want to make sure that the layers that you're putting down are exactly where you want them. Otherwise, that print will come out a little bit weird, and you don't want that.
Sure.
So once you've glued it, you're basically making a lasagna, right? So you put your layers of carbon fiber down in there. And then as soon as you got the adequate amount of layers, then you need to do a little bit of layering of products that will go away afterwards. First thing we've got here is a full polyester fabric. So this is just...
When you hear that music, don't panic. Don't panic. You can keep going. It's just that we got a break, and you can watch the timer over there. And when it gets to around 30, I got to cut you off. So
good deal.
So actually, we'll take a break on that. So hold that right there. And... yeah, we'll be right back after these words. And we got 10 seconds. 9, 8. You're listening to CRN Digital Talk Radio in the Garage. Welcome back to In the Garage. Just joining us, we got Jeff Martin from Munsey Speed and Design. And check them out at munsey.speedanddesign.com. That's Munsey, Munsey. Speed and Design, just like it sounds, .com. Check them out. You need some carbon fiber products? Check them out. I like it. So go ahead.
We left off on a cliffhanger there.
Sorry. Those come up really quick, man.
We talked about the things that will remain the product that you're making. So now we'll just quickly review the items that are going to be there for assistance and then go away later. So we talked about what we call the peel ply, and this is just a nylon fabric. The intent of this is just to make sure that nothing is going to stick to that resin once the part is cured. So this will be kind of as it suggests, you just peel that away.
Okay.
And that's going to make sure that nothing stays behind on your part.
Okay.
On top of that is this really loose cotton.
Pretty.
And this is actually just to soak up all the excess resin.
Okay.
The idea behind these parts is you want them as light as possible. So you don't want any resin in there that's not supposed to be. So this layer just basically acts like the bread you put in the soup, just to kind of soak it up there.
Cool.
And then on top of that, you've got your flow media. And this is just a plastic netting that allows the resin to just kind of flow through and gives it some air void in there. You put all of that, you got your lasagna made, right? Carbon fiber lasagna, and you put all of that in some type of vacuum orifice. So you can either tape down on top of the mold if it's got a lip, or depending on what it is, you can use an envelope bag like this. This is just a nice little clipping of it. Take your whole mold, your part, everything, throw it inside, and then you're going to tape it up, seal it up, use a spiral on the inside with some outlets, and then you're just going to vacuum that thing down. So you got to have a vacuum on this.
Okay.
And what that's going to do is it's just going to press everything together. You've got an outlet on one side going to your vacuum, and then the other side goes to your resin. Turn the vacuum on, let all that resin suck through the top side, suck through the part, and then out the back side. Clamp it off, let it cure, and then when you're done, take it out of the oven, peel your stuff off. There's your part.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you pull it out, traditionally you'll have something that'll look a little rough. You got to trim it up. So that's just kind of an example of that. Now this has already got the clear coat on it.
Okay.
You can either put the clear coat in the mold, or you can do it afterwards. And then after you're done with that, you'll trim it up to look like this when it's done. And then just give it a nice cut and buff, or if you're doing a satin,
that, huh?
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. You can use just as long as it's a UV stable, you can use any type of clear coat to put on top of it.
Wow.
Just to finish your piece off.
That's pretty hard, huh? It's
absolutely. Yeah, if you layer it the right way, you can make a part that's. I don't know if I want to say this so close to a metal guy, twice my size, but you can make a part that's stronger than the same part in metal. But it's a long process and a completely different process than doing it in metal. Yeah. There's some guys that have full race car bodies that are just done out of carbon fiber, and you'll see them standing on top of them in different areas.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that the reason for most of this that it was pretty much invented was keep weight down.
Yeah.
When you're racing, you want to keep the weight down. I know I've heard that this helps in aerodynamics, keeping the weight down. A lot of racing. A lot of race cars and stuff like that. Very important to keep the weight off. So this really helps. Plus, it still maintains integrity. Strength.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's designed right and the layup is right, then you've absolutely got your integrity in there, which is important, especially in key pieces that are going to be important to safety, because that's always first when you're dealing with cars, especially the performance level we're at.
Now, I saw that C10 truck that you guys did. You helped. How important was fitment on that? How does this fit when you do it?
Yeah, that's a good point, and a lot of the pieces that are done composites, fiberglass and carbon fiber, that's a big worry.
It is.
Sure, absolutely, and I'll be the first to say that there's some pieces on that just don't fit right, and that's a struggle, especially when you're dealing with something that's one-off and very prototypey. Fortunately, the owners of the C10R, Rob and Brandy Phillips with PCH Rods, they've been real gracious about putting some elbow grease into making sure that the prototype pieces fit as well as possible. But yeah, that's definitely something that's got to go through that R&D process if you're doing a production piece to make sure you got a good fit.
And I would guess that if you're building a car for race, it doesn't have to be the best fitment. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, and when I say it to you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, I'm thinking in our process here, all these people want perfect fit, and that's basically where my costs come in and why it's so expensive, because we spend hundreds of hours making door gaps perfect, hood gaps perfect, and it's a lot of metal work and it's a lot of welding and just repetitive work,
Right.
And so I would be assuming on this you would just use a filler and kind of bring it to where you needed it to, adjust it and get it as perfect as possible. Because I've seen the Ring brothers did that Mustang, right, Mitchell?
Yeah, they did a whole Mustang out of carbon fiber.
Yeah, the Fastback Mustang at SEMA a couple
SEMA,
years ago. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was back this year finished, wasn't it?
I believe
Yeah.
I got an LS in it and going to Russia, I believe.
That's where it was going. Yeah, they don't like to talk about the LS. They, we had him on here, and he was like, "Oh man, Bodie, you put us on the spot. We got to talk about the motor right now." But hey, whatever, to each their own.
Sure,
it's
absolutely.
weird because we've had a request just recently for a Mustang with an LS motor. So maybe it was kind of payback for putting them on the spot. Now someone wants us to do it.
Well, when you're talking an LS is cheap performance. It's really smart performance, actually.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to just go racing or enjoy the car, I mean, purists have their place. Just put something in it and go enjoy. So I can see the place where that would come into play.
Yeah, I could too, but now, Ford has the Coyote motor, and I think they're very similar. You know what I mean? They've made them just as easy as the LS packages, as
Absolutely.
far as the computers and the technologies and installations,
Sure.
They've made it pretty easy. They've made the Illuminator, which is a pretty much performance engine. If you want to supercharge it, it'll handle up to 20 pounds of boost. You know what I mean? It's got a built bottom end, 8.5 to 1 compression. So
Sure.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the prices are very similar, aren't they, Mitchell?
Yeah, they're very comparable.
Yeah.
I think the Ford's just still bigger, so it's a little heavier. But
Yeah, well, there you go. There's the weight thing again. So I guess there
Weight
you
comes
go.
into play.
Yeah, it was like you were saying about what you heard Adam say. He was saying what you get a bonus, a $1,500 bonus, and what do you buy next for your car? Do you buy brakes? Do you buy to stop better? Do you buy the engine? Do you buy all this stuff, or do you buy the carbon fiber pieces that you need for the car, which keeps the weight down, so you don't have to have the big brakes and you don't have to have all the other stuff. You know what I mean? So you don't have to spend as much. Yeah, brakes are way overrated, right? Touchdown. Did you see? That's Eric's touchdown.
I was wondering who was playing.
Yeah. What game is he watching on that camera? That's hilarious. Hey, man, I can't see our times. There we go. All right. Well, we're coming up on a break. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. You are listening to CRN Digital Talk Radio. And, Nikki, say something, please. You're scaring me. Okay, we'll be right back. Talking about carbon fiber. Yeah. That gets Jeff's juices flowing.
Yeah, now we're talking.
What made you get into this?
Mother, necessity, the whole thing, that whole story.
Yeah.
Was building a Ford Falcon and wanted a different look for it. I'm based out of like the Riverside area, so all the pictures growing up at the local McDonald's hanging on the wall or Riverside Raceway, right? So you see a lot of Mustangs and Falcons of the series that had these old apron-style bumpers on them.
Sure.
So I thought, you know what? I want to do that. I want to get back to that because it's just been imprinted in my brain since a little kid. So started looking, and the aprons that were out there were for Mustangs, not Falcons. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to just, let's see how bad this is, right? And just make it myself. So made it, liked it, others liked it. People started asking for them. Started building that, then just someone would go, well, can you build this? Can you build that? I don't know. Let's see if I can, and sometimes it was a yes and sometimes it was a, oh, no, I can't. Look.
I mean, you would assume that there's a big cost in starting up a business like this in tooling and equipment and product, you know what I mean? Because that's the other thing I've heard, that this isn't cheap, I'm assuming it's just about like everything else. Your initial setup is the cost. That's
Right.
where all your costs is endured. Your R&D, your like you said, your tooling, your machining stuff, your molds, and
Yeah.
after that, I'm assuming that the price goes down quite a bit.
As long as you don't mess up, yeah, it goes down quite a bit. Yeah, and that's where I just,
Shoot, we forgot a couple holes.
you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
It really came down to just listening to a lot of the friends I had in the industry, and just kind of picking their brain to go, all right, I know what I'm going to do is really dumb and I shouldn't do this, but what's the least dumb way to do it? So it was a lot of coaching by those who were in the industry to go, don't buy brand new. Go find somebody. Here, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Get this at cost and just build slowly. Don't get crazy. Just build slowly.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. No, and that's what we've done basically. Mitchell and I over the years, we've built slowly. We didn't have really a choice. It's cash flow is hard to come by these days. And we started in probably the worst economy ever, right when it was just all tanking and stuff. But we're still here. We've made it. And there's in doing this business, there's a lot of costs involved. Now, how do you go about picking the next product? Because that's challenging. Like the C10, I think was a hit for you because all of a sudden everyone's doing a C10.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I actually liked them, but now, I can't jump on that bandwagon. You know what I mean?
Sure. Now we're all going to be autocrossing the F-150s, right? Because the C10s are all taken up.
I think so, or so. I don't know. It's crazy, but I get it. Because what we do is, as time goes on, we're always looking for that next thing, and guys like us, I'm assuming right here, I'm speaking for all of us, budget is something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you're working with the budget, you're looking for the next thing or car or vehicle you can buy cheap, and then parts are readily available, inexpensive, but you can make this thing badass perform and take it on the track and hammer it, right?
Sure, absolutely. The process of selecting is... Ask Me Tomorrow will be different. Each time it's a little bit different, but it just used available resources. So if you go on our website, if you want something custom, there's a submission form there. Okay. So we get tons of submissions on some really cool, crazy stuff. Okay. But the one thing that I learned from that advice is that doesn't mean we have to say yes. We need to evaluate it. What is it? Is this the right fit? Unless
somebody's willing to pay all that money, and then here you go, you got the mold.
Yeah,
right?
Here you go.
You got to pay for the setup, and that's just basically it.
Sure. In case there's any other, 64 Cadillac Eldorados out there that want that carbon fiber bumper.
But hey, if they do, you better have a big storage building, because I see tons of molds that were because we've done stuff as well. We have a friend that does fiberglass 2 doors down, and so we've made a center console out of metal, shaped it to what we wanted, and then we've run it over to him, and he'll make it in fiberglass to keep the weight down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's less expensive than carbon fiber.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's like a one-off, but still, we have molds upstairs too, as well, that are kind of accumulating.
Yeah.
So
they just keep getting bigger and bigger too. You run out of workspace and you turn into a public storage.
But I guess it wouldn't hurt though to have it and throw it on your website if somebody did want that 64 Cadillac.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You never know, right?
You never know. Anyways, check them out at MunseySpeedAndDesign.com. And if you're looking to do carbon fiber, this is a guy to go to. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Here comes the bass.
Oh, here comes the bass. Love this part. Welcome back. Jeff Martin joining us live in the studio from Munsey Speed and Design. Check them out at MunseySpeedAndDesign.com. If you are looking for some carbon fiber product or parts or one-off stuff or whatever, then he's your guy to go see. How about if you want to paint over this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Absolutely. Good? Yeah, matter of fact, what the race car builders are doing for composite parts is when they lay up the mold, they don't lay in the clear coat. They'll actually just spray in the 2K primer right into the mold and then lay up the part.
Really?
So that way when it comes out, they scuff it and wrap it. Because the race cars, they're not really painting anymore because that's too heavy.
Yeah.
But they'll just scuff it and wrap it just like that.
Yeah, it's too heavy, and I would think cost-effective as well. If you're hitting corners all the time, it's easier to just throw a wrap over that smashed corner. That's no problem. Come on, bring it back. We'll just throw another wrap right over that thing. You'll never know.
Sure. But, yeah, you can paint it, too.
Now, you guys were talking during the break, okay, and I couldn't help but notice Nikki was talking about fabrics.
Yes.
And then where you get your fabrics.
Oh, the dirty secrets.
Yeah, and the pretty colors. And right. She's speechless again. Look at her. She was just talking, right?
Sorry, Mitchell. This is hard. Sorry. This is kind of hard. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. Watch Tiki Live. You got to see all this stuff live.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in his space.
Yeah. You're in his face and his space.
Sorry. No, but we were talking about his fabrics and how, I was looking at some of them. I was like, oh my God, this fabric is that. And you put a clear coat over it and that's it.
Yeah.
And I saw this really pretty purple one. And I was like, what
There we
is
go.
that?
There we
And
go.
it's, what's the fabric?
This is
The
polyester. This is
polyester.
100% polyester fabric.
And
Wow.
it's this pretty purple color.
Yes,
and
it is.
tell them your secret. Where do you get it from?
The reason why it's purple is because this is what was on sale at, I believe, Joann's Fabric at the time.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Now
Absolutely.
we're talking apps and everything
Oh,
else. And
Yeah,
go on.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little secret for you. If you download the app, you can get a little discount. So make sure you download those apps. Joann's,
There
Target,
you go.
Michael's.
Hobby Lobby, I believe.
Hobby
yeah,
Lobby.
I've never heard of
absolutely.
Hobby Lobby.
Oh,
I need a
man.
Hobby. Really? How come we don't have a Hobby
Oh,
Lobby?
sure.
Have you ever heard of that, Mitchell?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Have you really?
I don't know where one is around.
Mitchell spends all his weekends at Michael's and stuff like that. He's big time into like
He's into
Arts
arts
and
and
crafts.
crafts.
arts and crafts, and that's kind of actually what our business is like. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of makes it fun. Is when you're creating something from scratch, we basically start with cardboard template. You know what I mean? We'll make a template out of cardboard. That's kind of our mold, and then you go from there, and we structure it out of metal or however we need to do it. You know what I mean? If we're making a bracket, it's just easy to get a piece of cardboard. You put your holes where you need them. You got your measurements. Go over, trace it out on metal, cut your metal out, do whatever you have to do, make your bins, whatever, and then there's your bracket. So
Absolutely.
it's arts and crafts, man, and I always loved arts and crafts. Pinewood Elementary, man, I would be sitting there, and I was the kid that would just, at any chance I could get, Elmer's all over your hands. Oh. Let it dry.
Let it dry.
Oh, it was the coolest thing ever.
I did the Elmer's and glitter.
Always,
I like
always
to have
taking it to
Wow.
the next
Glitter
level.
A
hands.
customizer at heart.
And I did not want to peel it off. Like, why am I going to peel my glitter hands off, Mom?
That's
Why would you
great.
do that?
You know what else was great?
And
Was
she wasn't happy about that.
That's awesome. It was the old paints. You know what I mean? They were in those tubes, and they were just like real thick, pasty paints, and they were true red, yellow,
Yeah.
like good colors. They
Oh,
could just
yeah.
smear all over your piece of paper or brush, and and you had it all over
Oh,
you. It was the best in
That
the world,
shirt was
right?
done. Whatever that shirt was, it was
Oh,
just
man,
done.
Good old days. Oh well, whatever. But
So let's talk about your cards. You have these really cool cards
Oh, yes.
that
Let's,
you put everywhere. Actually, I follow you on Twitter and on Facebook, and I see that that's what you're promoting is those cards. You
Sure.
find these nice cars, like, hey, that's a nice car, and then you put a card on there that says, nice ride. Just wanted to say we like your style. Thank you for keeping the celebration of automobiles alive. And I think that is so cool. Like, I want a card.
oh, okay.
But
Well,
I don't
you-
have the nicest car.
oh, don't worry, you got one out on your car right now.
Do I really?
He picked your car out of all
Oh,
of them
you
in the
did
parking
that
lot.
out of like, you feel
the
sorry for
secret's
my
out.
car.
Well, I'll be
We
clear.
talk a lot about her car on the show.
No, you'll-
Maybe you could go out there and see what you can
No,
do for her car for some
You'll
car
feel so
refinement
sorry
stuff.
for it. You will give me a card out of feeling sorry for my little bucket out there.
If you would see what half the cars look like before they get restored, there's no such thing as a nice car to start with.
Well, I
That's
just put
awesome.
like a really nice tint, so that's
All right.
something.
We're gonna start one of
That's a
those
good little upgrade.
foundation things where we earn money or we generate income for her to go. We're gonna get her a new
Okay,
car.
so
What are
we're
they
gonna
called?
we're gonna crowdfund
yeah.
a set of wheels
Yeah,
for
what's
the.
that? What Eric knows.
Kickstart.
Kickstart.
Yeah,
We're going to
okay.
set you up a Kickstart, and we're going to get you a new car, and we're going to tell you everybody why you need a new car, and everyone's going to be on board, and you're going to get lots of money.
And then it's going to be 1 year newer than whatever car you got now.
Uh-huh.
And then,
and probably a Prius.
Hey, I'll take anything. I don't care.
hey, I've always thought that the best sleeper, because everybody's like, oh, what would be a good sleeper car? What's a good sleeper car? You might have the best sleeper car ever. So crowdfund a Prius that we then swap like a Tesla
There you go.
drivetrain into.
With
You'll
carbon fiber
absolutely,
product.
you'll be blowing them away. And they're
Well,
like,
lighten that bad boy up,
sure.
right? Because you've seen that Tesla. That Tesla, I think I just saw the Tesla beat the Hellcat
Ooh.
in a quarter mile, yeah. I think it's on YouTube.
Roadster or the Model S?
Sure.
Was it a sedan or did
Sure. Come on, dude. What you know I'm not into those cars. Why are you asking me that stuff? You're always putting me on the spot, too. Mitchell, he's always putting me on the spot. I don't know. All I know is it's a Tesla, and it beats the Hellcat. And it's out of the gate because but apparently that Tesla just hauls ass. So,
Well, electric motors in general, it's all or nothing.
yeah. Well, I want to get to the point where people start dropping off cars on my doorstep, and hopefully Tesla is one of them, so I can drive it for a week. You know what I'm saying?
All right, there we go.
We can go out and test drive it. I think we're getting there. I think we got to be close.
So let's just crowdfund Nikki a Tesla. Let's just do that. Hashtag Nikki Tesla crowdfund.
Wow.
And we're done.
Go.
Get that going, people.
Man.
Can I have a card?
Can I?
Can my personality be my nice card?
I'll make you a deal. If they crowdfund the Tesla, it's getting a card.
All right.
Pressure's on.
All
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. Oh, look at that, Nikki. You got a card. Dang it. I was going to ask him if I could put one on your car after the show. Because we do all like her car.
I want pictures of that on your car.
That's awesome.
I am
That's going
dancing
up.
for joy right now. I just got a nice red car,
Okay.
and I'm going to put it on my car, and everybody's going to be like, why?
Oh, come on.
Thank you. Yay. I wanted one of these.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about during the break the Tesla and the Hellcat thing. Were we talking about during the break, or were we talking about last segment too?
Last segment.
Okay, cool. Because I can tell you what happened in 1980 something, but I can't tell you what happened on the last segment.
Oh, that's way before my time.
What, the last segment or 1980?
1980 something.
Thanks. Yeah,
You're
just
welcome.
dated myself. Whatever. Oh man. So, anyways, back to carbon fiber. Well, that's a pretty cool story, man. And, you know, welcome to business in California.
Oh, boy.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of race cars going to you with the carbon fiber?
Most of the big race cars already have sponsors behind them, and sponsors usually have their guy, which is fine because we're not as big as those guys. So that's okay. I've really crafted this to target the guy who's got that really crazy rendering from, there's so many good artists now that are kicking out these crazy renderings of these cars. And they go, okay, I got the money. I'm going to build this, out of my garage or something like that. And then they look at the front end, the rear end of that special piece and go, that's not even a part that exists. How do I make that happen? And that's where usually we try to target our customers, is to go, can you make that really weird thing that this guy drew that looks cool that doesn't exist? So the race car guys usually have, the big money behind them and the big places because they're cranking out.
Now, how do you
multiples
do
at a time.
that, though, if they come to you and it doesn't exist and you don't have a product?
Man, okay.
You
well,
just got to start sculpting some stuff?
you do, yeah, and there's
Okay.
plenty of stuff you can sculpt with.
That's what our friend Duke does, too. He starts sculpting.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. And if nothing else, I'll say this to anybody out there who's timid about jumping into something that they're not quite sure about, is just try it, right? I mean, the one thing that you, I, Chip, everybody has in common is at one point we didn't do what we do until we started doing it and go, okay.
Kind of a necessity, yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what I tell people. Best advice when you're doing something, just start doing it.
Start doing it. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Once you start doing it, and if you have the passion, you're gonna strive to figure it out no matter what it takes. You're gonna jump through the hoops, and you're gonna jump over the hurdles, and you're gonna make it happen. If you don't, you're not gonna even get to the first hurdle.
Sure.
You're just gonna crash and burn.
And that's okay if you start and you find out, no, I'm not as good.
Yeah,
That's good. You tried.
That is good. Now you move on to something else.
Something else, because
Yeah.
you got to find that, right?
Because I think you'd have to be good at sculpting. Maybe that's a good thing for Bodie Jr. to do once he comes here, because he's an unbelievable sculptor. We can just have him sitting around here sculpting bumpers and crazy stuff,
And before you know it, he goes, Dad, I found this crazy black fabric in the corner. Can I go ahead and try to lay some of that up?
Dude. Or even I might come in one day and he's been, 36 hours straight here, and I'm out on vacation. I come in and he's sculpted this car.
Ooh,
Yeah, right?
there you go.
Love the lines, Bode. Let's do it. Let's make it. I've always wanted to build my own car from the ground up. I have visual pictures of the car that I want to build, and I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Is it an actual car that you're building off of as a platform, or is this just the boat.
No, this is just the Bodie. This is what I see. It's not copying anything. It's just from scratch. And
Gotcha.
what's funny is I'll build it in my head, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, build it for us. We're in your head.
Yeah.
I'd love to, but I'm choking right now.
Very
Excuse
emotional
me.
about
God,
that.
I was getting very choked up. It was creating post-nasal drip, and now I'm just can't stop coughing. No, I mean, as a car builder, you try to figure out how they made it. What was their process?
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I start with the doors and, the inner door structure, how that was all made, and how I would go about it if I was to build my own here in the garage without all the fancy tools. You know what I mean? Because most of that stuff is computer design, and then they made a stamp. But except back in the day. Back in the day, man, that was all handmade, and they'd make the dies and all the tooling for it, and it would be stamped out. But if you're doing a one of, and I know the process. I know of doing the bucks and clay modeling or whatever you have to do. I don't have time for any of that. I just want to go straight to building it. So I sit there and I think, how can I just go straight to building it? So I basically start at the doors and work my way back. If I get all the doors built, the door jambs, the structure, maybe the front cowl, the firewall, and then kind of work my way back and then work my way forward from there is how I see myself doing it. My own chassis would be easy because that's just what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd set up whatever wheelbase I wanted, track width and all that stuff. And then you never know. I might be calling you for some carbon fiber fenders or something.
Hey.
Because I like going fast. So if we can lighten it up and, I can make it from here to, I don't know, Vegas in like 2 hours, that'd be great.
Absolutely. We'll be
Right?
on the other end waiting with a card to put on that thing.
Yes. Yes. See that?
Shotgun.
I'm gonna earn my card. Oh, speechless. We're gonna take a break. But you got one, I know. We'll be right back.
I feel like I've got like 5 or 6. Top of my head.
Welcome back to the garage.
Well, that's what I got on top of my head too. As you can see, I got 25 right now on top of my head.
Some of them maybe not your
Mitchell,
favorites
too.
at the time, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And poor Mitchell, like right now, I seem to be doing so much PR work for the company and, marketing and interviews and magazine stuff, and we're getting ready to do a few more things. So Mitchell's the guy right now running around the shop like a madman making it all happen, and he cries a lot. Every day he cries to me. But it's good because I'm there. I got a shoulder for him, and I wouldn't know what to do without him. But you were asking during is this the last segment? Oh, wow, this is going to go quick. You were asking us what car comes to mind, like a favorite out of all cars. And isn't that kind of what you were asking?
Yeah, what car interests you right now? Old, new, doesn't matter. Just what's popping up on the radar? Doesn't have to be a favorite.
That new Ford GT looks pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. It's kind of weird because, when you do say it's got a 6-cylinder in it, that kind of does, just for some reason, it makes it a step down. I don't know why, and I think it's just because what I was reading, it's true. The V8 is instilled in all of our heads as big muscle, big power.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting as much power out of these V6s now. They're more economic. They're more green. They're
Sure. It was upward of 600 horsepower is what they were talking?
Yeah.
Whew, out of that V6, it's a twin turbo, which, okay, so now that's a crate motor that's going to be available by Ford.
That's going to be, I know. And you wonder, is that, because that's what somebody said to me. They said, how do you like the new GT? And I said, well, what I would like to do is actually get it and pull the motor out of it and put it in some, because there's a Ford GT motor sitting right over there. That's an actual Ford GT motor, and that's what I kind of like to do is dissect them and make it work in something else that it wasn't intended for.
Sure.
I think that's where Mitchell and I both get our jollies from, and so that'll be pretty cool. It's just that V6.
I know. I think it's a little bit of the culture that we're going to have to just let sit for a while and let it prove itself before we're able to
it's
accept
just like
it.
everything else.
And
You gotta
somehow
deal with the change.
Pipe in the V8 sound. So
yeah. How about you,
Okay.
Nikki? What do you think? I see you looking at all those cars. You were talking about a red one in particular.
I can't find a name for it, but it's.
You know,
I watched Fast 7 over the weekend.
no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
And it was awesome. Like, okay, so you know the OG car that he has, this one, the muscle car?
Mm-hmm.
That's my one of
That's the
my
one you
favorites.
want.
So
Okay.
we're looking at the classic Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, when he turns it on and you just hear that sound and it's just, you know.
See, I love this question because
Like-
between men and women, it's very different reasons why they like something. Where men
Sure.
choose more function, and women, it's a feeling. That color makes me feel this way. That sound makes me feel this way.
I like the fact that all the new cars are putting out some serious horsepower and some serious speed. I mean, we all like speed, and that's why, Maxim Magazine was here yesterday doing an interview, and he was asking me, and I said real quick, you know what I like? I like creating it. I like building it. It's a rush. It's a thrill. It brings out my creative juices, and then I like going out and going as fast as we can with it. It's usually me and Mitchell hammering on it and then turning it over and saying next.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's the end of the show. We got to wrap it up. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Sil Rubber, and thank you, Manic and Flow. As always, check them out.
And thank you, Jeff.
And thank you, Jeff. Check
Thank
him
you,
out
guys.
at MunseySpeedAndDesign.com.
See you next week, because you're always welcome in the garage with Bodie Stroud. Presented by Steel Rubber Products. www.steelrubber.com on CRN Digital Talk Radio. www.crntalk.com.